Hi, I'm Michael Bobbitt, and this is my Showbiz Story. So I wanted to tell you a story about my time as the artistic director of a children's theater in the DC region called Adventure Theater. There's one particular show that sticks out in my mind because it was just such a fantastic experience from top to bottom. We were doing a play called If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, which was an adaptation of that very popular children's book that came out maybe 20 years ago. The story I want to tell you is about how the sort of sensory-friendly and autism-friendly performances started in the theater world. I was sitting at my desk one day and I get a call forwarded to me from a patron who wanted to tell me that she was very excited that we were doing this play because she and her son were reading the book. And when I asked her when she and the son were coming to see the show, she said she wasn't coming, which was very disturbing to me. It was a little strange to get a call from a patron that says, I'm not coming to see the show. And when I asked her why, she said, well, her kid was autistic and she did not want to disrupt other patrons. And that was, frankly, unacceptable to me. So I put her on hold and I went back and talked to the cast and asked the cast, which was only a cast of 2, if they would do the show for the patron and their mom. And without hesitation, the 2 actors said yes. And so when I got back on the phone with the patron, I said, hey, good news, the cast is going to do the show for just you and your son. And she was so touched. She said, oh my gosh, this is so special. Can I tell other families like mine? And I thought, great, absolutely. Let me know what we can do to help. Well, she called back in a week and said she has probably 200 families that wanted to come see the show, which was exciting to me. And so then I thought, well, now I've got to figure out if there are any sensory issues with the show that may need to be adjusted because I don't want to make this a bad experience for these patrons. And so I called in an autism specialist. They came to see the show. They gave suggestions about adjustments on the tech, on some of the volume that the actors were having, to keep the house lights to create a space for those patrons that needed to leave the theater and go to a room to sort of engage their minds, and then to create a social story. So we launched the first ever sensory autism friendly performance of a theatrical show in, I think it was February of 2009. The show sold out. We then started offering a performance for every single show that we produced from that moment on. About 3 months later, I was speaking at a small mini conference, I think with the National Alliance of Musical Theater. And I remember speaking about special outreach efforts that we were doing to engage patrons that were not sort of your typical patrons. And I was telling about this and I saw a group of people in the back writing feverishly, which was very exciting to me because I, of course, want this to be spread around. And a few months later, I get a call from Theater Development Fund asking if I would come to New York and talk with them about The Lion King on Broadway and go see the show with a couple other consultants they brought in, and then go meet with Disney and help them figure out if they could do maybe the first ever Broadway sensory friendly performance. So we did. We had a great conversation, and the following fall launched the first ever Broadway production of a sensory autism friendly performance. It was amazing to see The Lion King with pulled back special effects and house lights, and they added glow sticks for ushers to hold up when applause was happening so that patrons could cover their kids' ears that had sensory issues. It was thrilling. I sobbed like a baby to see all those kids that probably don't get a chance to see theater seeing theater. And I'm so thrilled that now this thing is happening elsewhere. But the other thing I wanted to tell you is that when the show, the sensory friendly performance was happening at Adventure Theater, as the pre-show announcement speech was sort of fading out, there was a kid in the front row that quietly started saying, "This is gonna be great!" And that set the tone for the rest of the day. The show was indeed great. And it was such a wonderful experience, and it stands out as one of my favorite experiences in children's theater. I still love children's theater. There is nothing like it. The creativity, the immediate responses that we get from kids, the honesty that you have to have to produce and act in these plays, because kids will tell you right then and there. So do more children's theater, support children's theater, and bring children in your audiences. They are future artists and lifelong patrons of the arts. Thanks for hearing my story. you.